For Tierney Dumont, mother of 9-year-old Savannah, the day started like any other. Her daughter asked to go play with her friend down the street. About 30 minutes later, she heard the screams.
The 60-pound pit bull was brought outside on a leash by a 9-year-old child at the request of her mother in an unfenced yard, which should have never happened as she was too young and not strong enough to handle the dog.
The dog broke loose and began mauling Savannah.
Savannah had 9 lacerations to her head. Her ear was cut in 3 places. She had 2 lacerations to her hand and a puncture wound. She had a skull fracture, had to have a blood transfusion. All the nerves in her head were severed. She spent time in the ICU and spent a total of 5 days in the hospital. Savannah has gone through the worst days of her life, all at the small age of 9.
Savannah's story is fairly common.
I'm a pediatric neurosurgeon at Dayton Children's Hospital, where we see victims of dog bites with the frequency of an epidemic.
Dr. Robert Lober says he's seen 330 dog attacks on children this year in Dayton alone.
There's a lot of facial injuries, facial paralysis, something is completely disfiguring to a child.
He came to testify in support of House Bill 37, which would require a court-ordered euthanization of a vicious dog after its first attack, whether it be on a human or another dog. If passed, the law would also charge the owner with a felony. Niraj Antani, who sponsors the bill, says it's a matter of public safety.
You know, a lot of these dogs, this isn't their first attack. Right? I'm a believer that it should be one attack and done.
But critics of the bill say other alternatives should be explored. Corey Roscoe of the Ohio Humane Society pointed out that many of these attacks have similar origins.
Even the Center for Disease Control shows that dogs most likely to attack are male, unneutered, and chained. So when looking at those, hoping that non-legislative efforts such as access to low-cost spay-neutering in communities would also be considered by local governments.
Lober points out the law doesn't target any specific breed.
It turns out that some dogs are intentionally made to be aggressive. There's this idea of weaponizing dogs for a status symbol, and that really backfires on the community. This is the result of it.
But for Dumont and her family, the healing is far from over. She says the owners whose dog attacked Savannah were fined $120.
I'm not saying that I want revenge or anything like that, but at the same time, and I'm not even saying I want them to pay for what they did or anything like that, but for them to only pay a $120 ticket when our child almost died and had to go through all of this, it's just crazy to me.
While Savannah's exterior wounds have healed, her mother says she still requires bi-monthly doctor visits and psychological treatment. The bill is now in committee with the hope of a possible vote later this fall. Molly Martinez, Spectrum News.